Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's social. We're so excited that you're here and we have a great night planned ahead. So the event will begin with a quick presentation followed by a question and answer session, and finally breakout rooms for us to get to know each other and for you to ask Psikai members some questions. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to also acknowledge that even if we're in different parts of the world right now, Psikai operates on the traditional ancestral and unceded territory of the Musqueam people. So now, without further ado, we would like to introduce you to Psikai. Psikai is the Psychology Honors Student Society. We have a chapter here at UBC. It's the largest international honors society in the world and was founded in 1929. The purpose is to encourage, stimulate, maintain excellence in scholarship, and advance the science of psychology. Now, members get a lot of benefits: international recognition for academic excellence in psychology, $400,000 available in annual awards, grants, and scholarships, access to career center to review thousands of relevant jobs, opportunity to become published author in the peer-reviewed publications, where Psikai's regalia on graduation. So if you're here, you're probably wondering how to join. All applicants must have second year standing. You must have psychology declared as your major or minor at the time you apply for membership. The GPA cutoffs are 78.6 or higher for second years, 78.3 or higher for third years, and 80.9 or higher for fourth years. Transfer students must meet GPA and course requirements and must also have taken 12 credits of psych courses at UBC. We welcome new members thrice a year in the spring, fall, and summer sessions. You guys can keep checking our social medias to see when we post about new opportunities. A lot of you also expressed interest in knowing more about research at UBC, and we can think of no other more suited time to announce that this year we are launching our new podcast, The Labyrinth. One of the great things about being a psychology student is the opportunity to become a research assistant, but it may be daunting to know where to start. This podcast is designed to hopefully answer your questions by inviting principal investigators, graduate students, and professors to speak about their expertise as researchers and how to join. This podcast serves as a one-way route to everything you need to hear about UBC's different labs: what each lab's core research focuses on, how and when to apply, and what different groups of labs look for in their applicants. So, how do you join a lab as a research assistant? You can begin by cold emailing labs you're interested in to see if they're willing to take you. Attach your resume and a brief statement of interest in the email. Even if it doesn't work out, showing initiative will have you recognized and they'll keep your name on file. Secondly, looking at posting on the UBC Psych Lab page as shown in the screenshot, follow their links and apply. Thirdly, your professors, TAs, or friends working in labs may know of openings that are not announced yet. So feel free to ask them if they know of any openings, but do your research before approaching them. That is, it's important to ask them specifically that, oh, I'm interested in XYZ. Would you happen to know of any opportunities? Finally, participate in HSP studies. I know for some of the courses in first year they're required, but even if they aren't, I would highly recommend participating in them. Feel free to always strike up a conversation with the research assistants and ask them more about their research, and maybe they can introduce you to the principal investigator. But what can you do outside of being an RA? Some of you here may not want to be a researcher, and that's okay. There are so many ways to apply your degree. Here are 10 other exciting opportunities that I wish I knew when I was in my first year. There's consulting, there are crisis centers and lines, there you can be a behavior interventionist, there are camp counselors, you can go into law, there's UBC ORICE, jack.org, UBC Worklearn, peer support worker, and lab work that is not at UBC. I would like to hand the mic over to Ria so that she can talk a little bit more about each of them.
Thank you, Adya. So we will now be looking at each of these varied opportunities in detail. To begin with consulting, this is a great opportunity if you're interested in joining firms like KPMG, PwC, even a great opportunity if you're interested in going into law. And they're always looking for talent from different disciplines. So how do we begin? If you are interested in joining any of these, you can begin with volunteer experience to build rapport and connections, eventually transitioning into the job market. Nonprofits in downtown Vancouver, such as Mission Possible, Directions Youth Services, Altira's Women's Resource Society, as mentioned here, provide volunteer and paid occupations such as volunteer recruiter, youth advisor, operations volunteer, etc., which will help you get the necessary skills to apply for consultancy positions and when to start thinking about it anytime. Moving on. Coming to crisis lines, now this is the experience you want to get if you're interested in getting into clinical or counseling psychology in the future. It is a great way to give back to the community as well. And you can always look at their sites. You can submit an application or email a coordinator if you're interested in joining. And the key thing here is that there is extensive training provided. Now, I remember in my first 2 years at UBC, I was a little hesitant to apply to crisis lines because I didn't know if I would be a fit for the position. But once I did apply and get in, it literally took 5 minutes in the application. All they ask is for two references, and once that's done, there is extensive training. So there was 36 hours of training provided. It's very rigorous. You have a supervisor to support you, and only when do they feel that you are fit to actually go to the platform will they admit you. And the good thing about crisis lines is that Kids Help Phone here in particular is a text service, which means that you don't have to go to any office to begin as a crisis responder. You can provide support from the comfort of your home. This also means that the supervisor will be there throughout the shift, even if you are at home. So they are always there to make sure that you feel supported. All you need is a passion for the service to give back to the community, to be a part of a crisis line. Moving on. Next comes behavioral interventionists. Now, this is a very popular opportunity when it comes to psychology students. You can find a lot of positions on careers online as well as Indeed. The key thing here is that you get to work with children, adolescents, adults on the autism spectrum on their language, social, and emotional skills. And if you're interested in special education or hope to get into development psychology, this is a great opportunity to start. A lot of them hire students who are from UBC who are just studying psychology. You don't have to have an undergraduate degree already. And again, there is immense training provided. You can apply anytime. Moving on. Camp counselor. Now, this is a position that is very popular in the summer. It's great if you want to be a teacher or work with children in the future. It can be just a rewarding experience cultivating leadership, friendship, and independence in young children. And there are plenty of opportunities available on the camp's website. Daybreak Point Bible Camp is just one of the various camps that take students in the summer to be a counselor. Right now, unfortunately, because of COVID, we're not sure if this opportunity would be available, but it's definitely one to look out for. Moving on. Coming to law. Now, transitioning from psychology to law is actually fairly common. If you're thinking about going to law school, it will be really valuable experience to understand what day-to-day demands for a lawyer looks like. And you can be a legal intern or assistant at a boutique law firm or volunteer at a legal clinic. What you see here, Access Pro Bono Society, is actually one of the organizations in Vancouver that do take students who have no prior experience in law. So they do take students in a lot of admin positions as well as mental health support workers. So it's definitely one that you do want to check out if you want to get your foot in the door. You can start thinking about it in your second or third year. Moving on. UBC ORICE. Now, this is an opportunity that I actually had the chance to take advantage of. And what I particularly like about UBC ORICE is that they're full of applied research opportunities, something you might not necessarily find when you're working in a research lab in UBC Psychology building. What is the great part here is that you take your skills and actually apply it in a community project outside of UBC. When I was a part of a UBC International Service opportunity, I worked on a project through which I was designing an intervention to support the mental health of students in India. We collaborated with an NGO there, and over the course of 8 weeks, actually came up with a tangible intervention that can be employed in schools to increase mental health awareness. And this was one of the most, I think, like the best learning experience I've had at UBC. The way you can be a part of this is to just keep monitoring their website to know which programs are currently available. They also have some courses which are on the same lines of applied learning that you might be interested in. Moving on. Worklearn. Now, this is a great opportunity if you want to make some money while you're studying at UBC, but also gaining research experience or experience in engagement roles. What I really like about Worklearn is that they pay a lot of emphasis on learning. So you have check ins with your supervisor every single week to make sure that you are getting something really valuable out of this. The way it works is that on Careers Online, twice a year, you will see positions come out in August and March. If you're interested in working in the summer, which is 20 hours a week, the opportunities will come out in March, which means next month. And if you're interested in working from the September to April, the opportunities will come out in August. Sometimes they're also out in December if they are looking to hire only from Jan to April. I would highly, highly recommend checking out Worklearn because there are over 400 opportunities posted every time, which cover a wide breadth of opportunities. So if you're interested in research, if you're interested in being an advisor, maybe you're interested in something else. So there's something or the other for everyone out there. Moving on. Jada Oil. Now, this is another organization that I'm associated with, and I love the work that we do. Jada Oil is actually the largest mental health charity in Canada, and it's completely youth led. So, the way this works is that as a speaker, you get to go to schools in your city. It's very flexible. You get to choose which days do you want to do talks. And coupled with another speaker from Oil, you give presentations in schools about mental health. As you know, mental health awareness is pretty low, especially when it comes to elementary school children. Therefore, the objective here is to increase awareness about what mental health is all about, as well as equip students with resources that they can take advantage of if they are struggling. This is a great experience. We want to develop public speaking skills as well as get into mental health advocacy. You can choose the hours and the amount of time, school, location. It's pretty flexible over when you would like to deliver a talk. Training is around 3 weeks, and summer is actually a great time to apply for this. Another thing I want to mention here is that no prior experience is required. All you need to be is 18 to be a part of JAG.org. Moving on. Peer support worker. Now, this is a great opportunity again if you're interested in being part of clinical or counseling psychology. A lot of organizations in Vancouver, like the Mood Disorders Association of BC, as well as Vancouver Coastal Health, hire for peer support positions, wherein you will be a facilitator for a support group dealing with a variety of issues depending on which organization you decide to work with. And the earlier you can get an experience like this, the more it'll help you if you're interested in grad school. So I would say get started. They're always hiring for volunteers ready to get involved in different roles. So apply as soon as possible. All you need to go is to the website to apply. They might need references, but once you do get into this organization, they can be great references for grad school. Moving on. Last but not the least, since there is so much of interest in research, we want to reinstate the point that if you're interested in research, UBC is not the only place out there. There are a lot of labs outside of UBC in different universities as well who accept students from other universities. So SFU happens to be one of them. There's also research done in UBC ORICE. So if you take part of any of these applied opportunities, they're actually design research opportunities, something that's very different from the pure basic research that is done in the labs at UBC. Another thing, BC Children's Hospital also has a lot of research programs in the summer that you can apply for independently. Therefore, if you do find that UBC psychology labs don't have what you're necessarily looking for, there are a lot of other ways to get research experience. There are other faculties in UBC like counseling, sociology, kinesiology, faculty of medicine are also hiring research assistants throughout the year. Moving on. As you can see, there are many different opportunities for you to use your psychology degree in and outside the lab. We hope this gives you a good start to know how and where to begin to looking for different opportunities. We would now like to open the floor to any questions that you might have.
If any of you are too shy to mention out loud, you guys can type it on the chat, and we'll do our best to answer those questions. Ria, can you see the chat? Yeah.
Yeah, so in terms of tips for getting good references, I think what definitely works is to always to show initiative. So if you're working in a lab, if you're working as a research assistant, for example, maintain a good rapport with your research lab manager or your principal investigator, or even if you're directly working with the prof who's working on the project. If you assign a particular task, go above and beyond. Ask if you can get involved in other things. Talk about other subjects that you might be interested to research in, because that's what will set you apart from the rest of the students who might just come in there, do their work, and leave. Also, be really meticulous with your work. Show up on time. The little things actually matter. So make sure that you come across as someone who's dedicated and curious. That's honestly all you need to be able to get a good reference at the end of the day. No problem. Also, guys, if you're feeling shy, you can always just message us privately as well.
Okay, another thing we want to do is if there's no further questions, please give me 1 minute to make some breakout rooms just for a chance for us to meet in smaller groups. And you will be paired with one of us, one of the Psikai members, and we'll help just socialize a little bit, get contacts. If you ever have questions throughout your degree that you want answered, we'll always be there for you. So we just want to have space for that. And so just please give me 2 minutes to sort out the breakout rooms. It's my first time doing this, so yeah.
So the recording will be posted on YouTube later. Okay. Anyways, Abby, I think one of the people who mentioned specifically that they want to be in a breakout room with you. So if you've not taken that into account already, maybe you can switch them up.
Oh, who's oops. Um,
Abby, you can go to breakout room 3.
in breakout. Oh, perfect. Yes, that's how it works.
Yeah.